Hi, you're watching the most in-depth guide on the home build process. This is video 2 of a 3-part series, and you're not going to find a more comprehensive explanation of how a house is built. In this episode, I'll explain what happens during the home construction process, starting with the framing and ending with the four-way, which is one of the most important stages of the process. If you don't know what the four-way is, you're about to find out. When you're done watching this video, you'll be smarter than the new home construction salesperson who sold you the home. No joke. Be sure to watch all the way to the end, because I'm gonna get you so close to the action that you'll actually need to brush the sawdust out of your hair. Okay, so we're gonna start video 2, where we ended video number 1, and that's with the home at foundation, ready to be framed. They're gonna stick a board right on here called the sill plate, and we're gonna check it out right now. Lumber is delivered usually by one truck and dropped on the home site just after the builder has backfilled around the foundation. They call this a lumber package, and each package is unique to the specific house being built. Now, the framers can start putting sticks in the air. The first thing we're gonna look at is the sill plate, which connects the framing of the home to the foundation. The sill plate is a pressure-treated wood used anytime the framing touches concrete. It provides resistance to mold, fungus, and rot, while repelling ants and termites. The entire perimeter of the home will be anchored just like this, which means it would take one heck of a storm to separate the framing from the foundation. And here is a quick close-up of how the home is anchored. You wouldn't use these special planks for interior framing for several reasons, but mostly because it's much more expensive and because the boards have chemicals in them. Okay, so I'm down in the basement and I'm gonna show you the floor joists, which are these boards you see here running across. Floor joists are fastened to the sill plates. The joists rest on each end of the foundation, spanning the entire distance. The joists are engineered support beams that run horizontally the entire length of the floor, but because that length can get so long, the builder will actually put in walls like you see here and over there to help carry the weight of the floor above. I'm back up top to show you how they box in the joist with these headers that you see right here. Next, they're going to install the floor sheathing. It's a thick layer of plywood or OSB, aka oriented strand board. The OSB is nailed and often glued to the top of the floor joist. Its sheathing provides a solid base for the framing of the walls and for the finished flooring. It also stabilizes the joists below. Okay, so if you look above my head here, you can see floor joist. I'm on the first floor of a 2-story home. Now they got this section here of a dining area, and they put a large main beam across to hold the weight of the floor above. I'm gonna zoom in a second here, but you can see these little metal pieces up here. These are holding the joist onto this main beam to help attach it. Those are called saddles. So you can see that the joists actually rest in that little saddle there. And then they've used nails to help hold that in there. And then look how thick this board is. It's actually 3 sections of really thick boards to hold the weight of the floor above. Taking a closer look at this main beam, you will notice that it's resting on the top plate, but you can also see they've nailed a whole bunch of studs together to bear the weight of the upper floor. And then of course it's gonna rest here on the foundation of the wall below. And then if we swing on over to the other side, you'll notice that they did the same thing. Now, because this is the most in-depth video on the new home construction process, I want to give you a close-up of one of those saddle pieces. So you can see here, look, you got the holes where the nails or screws can go in, and then of course your truss is gonna sit right here in the saddle. In the United States, most homes are framed with wood. These planks of lumber are called studs. The interior of homes are almost always framed with 2x4s, meaning that the stud is about 2 inches wide by 4 inches deep. In many locations around the country, 2x4s are also used on the exterior of the home. But in places with extreme temperatures like Utah, most builders frame the exterior wall with 2x6s. Why? Because it allows them to add thicker insulation in the exterior walls, increasing the energy efficiency of the home. More on that later. Walls are framed in sections called wall panels. Stepping in closer, you can see the top plate, which runs across the top there, and the bottom plate, which attaches the wall to the OSB. Studs are usually spaced 16 to 24 inches on center, and they're an important component of support for the home. These wall panels often include windows or door openings like you see right here. These interior walls that divide the different spaces within the home are called intersecting walls. These walls are usually not insulated. They're often attached to the exterior wall panel with a wall ladder, like you see right here. The ladder back is several short horizontal studs running from the floor all the way up to the top plate. Okay, so you're looking at where a window will be placed. You'll notice a header board that runs across the top there. Stepping in a little closer, you'll notice a grouping of studs that are stuck together, and that's gonna help hold the weight of the house above. Looking at where the front door will be placed, you can see that's framed much the same way. While we're looking at the framing really quick, I just wanted to show you also, you can see this is a 2x6 board here for the exterior of the home, and this is a standard 2x4, which a lot of builders will use in a lot of locations. Here's the difference. You can see that's a 2x4 versus a 2x6. Look how much more insulation you can get in between the walls of this exterior versus the 2x4 exterior. All right, looking over my shoulder here, you'll see where they've already boxed in for a future fireplace. That will be a gas fireplace, but you've also see that they've already pre-insulated in that location, and they do that because right now it's easy. Once the fireplace box is in place, it'll be too hard. Next, they'll install the manufactured wall panels, also known as sheathing, to the exterior of the framed walls. It's the same material that they use for the flooring, but it's often thinner. The OSB interlocks with a tongue and groove system. The sheathing ties the framing together to solidify the wall system and provides a surface for installing the stucco, siding, or whatever. Taking a closer look, you can see that it's pieces of wood compressed and glued together. It is not waterproof, but it is water resistant. So if it snows or rains while your house is being built, don't worry about it. While we're on the exterior of the home, I just want to show you the earthquake or hurricane straps right there, so you can see how they're attached to the home. Now, let's head upstairs to the second floor so I can show you the truss system look up above. Okay, looking above my head here, you can see the roof trusses. This framing determines the shape of the roof and the ceiling. Trusses are pre-engineered in a factory and shipped to the home site. Trusses are raised usually one by one and attached to the exterior walls. They're engineered to carry the weight of the roof to the exterior weight-bearing framing, keeping the pressure off the interior walls. When all the rafters are in place, they'll install the sheathing like you can see here above my head. This ties everything together and provides a surface for the installation of the roof. The whole framing process, all the way to the sheathing, usually takes 10 to 14 days. So I'm in a different house to show you a different kind of truss system. If you look up here, you can see this one is more V-shaped. So this house will have a vaulted ceiling in this main room. Okay, I promised you in video number 1 that I'd risk my life, and this is where it all begins. Or is this where it all ends? Step number 17, the roof is installed. The first thing that the roofers are gonna do is they're gonna attach this asphalt product called underlayment to the sheathing. So you can see the sheathing here. This is the asphalt product. It's made of a material called roofing felt, which is like tar paper. It acts as a second layer of waterproofing. Next, the shingles and the flashing are installed. They'll start at the edge or the bottom portion of the roof and work their way up to the peak. Here's a close-up of the peak. In sections where the roof meets a chimney or a wall, they'll use these L-shaped metal flashings here that go underneath the asphalt shingles. Special aluminum pieces are also installed around any pipes or vents that stick out of the roof. Eaves, gutters, and downspouts are usually done later on in the process, so I will talk about that later on, but let's move on to the four-way process. During the four-way, several trades are in the home and often all at the same time. I will list each as a separate part of the home build process, but the order in which these items are completed are interchangeable. Before I get to it, I should explain that the four-way is the combination of final projects to be completed before the sheetrock, also known as the drywall, is hung. It's your last chance to see the guts or bones of the home. For this reason, the city requires an inspection, which I'll talk more about in just a minute. The four-way is the completion and inspection of the framing, electrical, HVAC, and plumbing. So now that the house is completely framed, the other three trades can get to work. The start date for each trade is often spaced apart a little, but it is common to see 2 or 3 of the trades in the house all at the same time. Step number 19, the HVAC is installed. We're gonna head on down here to the basement to show you the ductwork. For those of you that don't know, HVAC is the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system running throughout the home. The ductwork, like you see up here above me, is installed before plumbing or electrical because it's a lot easier for the plumber and electrician to work around the ductwork rather than the other way around. I've turned the camera around so you can kind of see here what the ductwork looks like. It's all this metal that you see running through the home, and it's gonna come on down here to the furnace. And I'm gonna spin this around here and give you a view of the furnace from this angle. And we'll be talking more about the furnace here in just a minute. Next, they're gonna place some AC units outside of the home. Down here in the basement, they're gonna place the furnace. If the house is large, you're gonna have 2 air conditioners and 2 furnaces. In Utah, the first furnace is usually placed in the basement, like you see right here. If another one is needed, it's often placed on the 2nd floor of the house or in the attic. This is done to maximize the efficiency. When everything is in place, the HVAC installer will turn everything on to make sure it's working correctly. If the home has a fireplace, the HVAC company is usually the one to do that as well. Step number 20, electrical. At this point, the main electrical box is attached to the exterior of the home, like you see right there. The power is run underground from the street to this box, giving power to the home. This gray line is the main power coming into the house from outside. You're gonna notice something else here. You're gonna notice this green wire right here. This is attached to this piece of rebar right here, which goes all the way down into the earth. It goes down deep, and that protects the house against any sort of major power surge, like a lightning strike or something like that. This orange cord right here, it just goes to an exterior outlet box. Once again, that thick gray line is the main power coming into the house, and you can see this green line is tied into this piece of rebar that goes all the way down into the foundation. If you look up here, you can follow this line. It's gonna take you to the main power source of the house. Then the main breaker panel will be installed in the basement. From this location, the electrician will specify where power goes, running wires from the box to each room. The main power right here, this gray line, is the power coming into the main breaker panel. The electrician will also place electrical boxes, AKA junction boxes, around the house and run the appropriate wiring to each of these locations for future power outlets, light switches, and smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Every bedroom in the home will have a detector. They're all linked together by a permanent power source with a battery as backup, so if one goes off, all the others will as well. Behind me is where the kitchen will be located in the future. There's a lot of power coming into the kitchen. Code limits the amount of power coming to each area, so the refrigerator, oven, dishwasher, and disposal will each have their own power source dedicated specifically to them on a breaker in the main power box below. The lighting will also be on its own breaker, as well as the electrical outlets. GFCIs, also known as GFI outlets, must be placed in any location near a water source like a kitchen and bathroom. A GFI outlet contains sensors that monitor the surge of electricity in the wiring, which keeps you safe from getting shocked. I'll talk more about GFIs later. Electricians will also run low voltage wiring. Low voltage is often for lighting, doorbells, thermostats, cable for TV, phones, and network wiring for the internet. For the time being, all power will be terminated in a junction box until the home nears completion. See right here? And if you look behind me, you got the future thermostat wiring right there. And then just giving you a close up, this is where your low voltage will go right through here. You can see it's kind of an empty little box here, but it makes it easier for the sheetrockers to get around that and leaves a clean look once it's completed. Step 21, plumbing. At this stage, the plumber will run drain lines and water lines to the appropriate locations. The thick black pipes run the sewage and wastewater out of the home to the sewer main at the street. This is the main water line coming into the house. This handle gives you the ability to turn off the water to the entire house in emergency. Okay, so you can see right here is where the main water comes in from the street, and following it up, it takes water to the other parts of the house. One of the last things the plumber will do is install a water heater, which will be placed in that location right there. The plumber will also run water lines to the appropriate locations in the house where water is needed, terminating or capping off each location until the home nears completion. Coming in closer here, you can see these 2 loops. This right here is gonna be for the water heater, and this is for a future water softener should the homeowner decide to add one. I also wanna point out while we're down here, you can see this thick black line running down here. That's the gas line, and you can see that's running over here into the furnace. And you might be wondering what this strange white pipe is behind me. Often, the builder will install a radon mitigation system like you see here. Comes out of the concrete like that, right there. Goes all the way up to the attic. This is not an active system. It's in place in case the homeowners notice that there is radon in the home. It's impossible to test for radon at this part of the construction because all the windows are open all the time and people are coming in and out of the house. Once the homeowners move in, they can test the home for radon, and should it be found that there's too much radon in the home, they can install a fan, and this will suction it up out through the basement, out of the house, making it safe for people to live down here. Tubs and shower surrounds are also installed at this point. Taking a closer look, you can see the water lines coming in to where the tub is going to be located. And they haven't put the shower surround in yet. You can see the drain is right there, and the water lines are run for the handle and the future shower head right there. And looking behind here, you can see this is the master bathroom. You've got double sinks. That's why you have the black tubes going to the right and to the left. You can also see the main water lines coming up from the floor. Like I was talking about earlier, they are terminated. You can see they're capped off until needed in the future. And then of course they've got these metal plates right here, and that's gonna keep the sheetrockers from sticking a screw into any of those pipes. Step 22, the windows and the doors are installed. This usually takes place near or at the end of the four-way process before the city inspection. In the master bedroom upstairs, they've got a huge sliding glass door. Okay, so this house is nearing the end of its four-way process. You can see the main power box has been installed right here. They've got some breakers in there. That's where the main power, like I said, is coming into the house. Okay, and then looking behind me here, you notice these things sticking out of the wall. I mean, what is that? I mean, someone could poke their eye out with that thing, right? Well, this is gonna go to your main air conditioners, and because there's two of them, that's telling you this is a large house, it's gonna need 2 AC units. Let's step inside the house and follow these to see where they're going. So the one on the left looks like it's going up, and the one to the right is most likely going down. So let's follow them, see where they're going. Okay, oh boy. Okay, once again, I'm risking my life for you guys. There we go. All right, okay, there we go. You can see, got the furnace right there. So this one line right here, you can see it. It's coming down into the furnace. And then of course you notice the gas line there. This gas line also feeds the furnace. It's gonna feed the water heater, and the gas line continues and it goes upstairs to where the kitchen is. And of course you've got your 2 loops here, one for the water heater and one for a future water softener. And then swinging back this direction, you can see that the main electrical panel for the basement has been pretty much installed, and most of the wiring has run to the places. We're just waiting for all the breakers to be installed. And then moving from the main electrical panel, you notice all these little wires hanging down right here. These are gonna be for your cable, internet, and things of that nature. Now let's head upstairs to see where that other main line is going from the outside. Okay, so there's where it comes in from the outside. You can see it goes up there. So it looks like we're gonna have to head up to the second story to see where that line is running. I know your time is valuable, so I'm running. All right. Oh look, we found it. Coming to the second floor here, you can see the gas line right here, and that's gonna be run over into the furnace. And here you go. So this is the upstairs furnace, and you can see here's where the line is coming in. So they ran it all the way up to the attic and down, and putting it on the second story like you see here makes everything more energy efficient. Above our heads here, you can see these black tubes. These run the air to all the different rooms. Okay, one other thing to point out here, you notice this little box here with this little line running to the outside. This is your bath fan. So that line will run the stinky air or the bad air out of the home. I wanted to give you a close-up of this plumbing for this half bathroom that's gonna go on the main floor. You'll notice this metal bar right here. This is actually used. You can see they've clipped in the hot water and the cold water, and that's gonna help hold these things in place. And talking a little bit more about the kitchen, you can see right here, the gas line has been popped up through the floor from the basement, and that's gonna be for the stove. But you can see also right here, they've got extra power. You notice that's a little thicker than this wire right here. This is gonna be your normal electrical wire coming into the house, right? That's gonna be a normal outlet right there. This is gonna give you more power for something like a stove or a dishwasher. And then traveling up the wall here, you will notice a normal outlet that is most likely gonna be for a microwave. If we spin around from right here, you can see there's gonna be a kitchen island right here, and those water lines sticking out of the floor means that there is going to be a sink there. So you can see the sink and then the drain pipe, right? The black one is the drain pipe, And then the white line is for cold water, red line is for hot water. Also, you're gonna notice the metal hole in the floor. This is the aluminum, but this is where the heat and the cool air is gonna come out of the floor, and they'll put a piece that pushes the air out into the kitchen from inside the island. And then if we move from the island to the other side here, you can see this is where the refrigerator is gonna go. You'll notice two large drain pipes here. These are actually coming from upstairs and going down into the basement, but that is where a water line is gonna come in for the refrigerator right here. And then of course, there's the outlet. Looking up at the ceiling, you can see that the can lights have been placed. Step 23, the four-way inspection. A city inspector will look over the entire home, confirming that everything has been done to code. This includes the framing, HVAC, electrical, and plumbing, among other things. The inspector will also confirm that the proper egress has been given to each basement window. The window wells need to be deeper in locations where bedrooms might be located, and a ladder might be placed so people can easily get out of the basement in an emergency. Most builders will schedule a four-way walkthrough with the home buyers as well to confirm everything has been done as expected. This is your last chance to move anything like electrical outlets, cable, and etc. Though many builders won't allow you to move anything unless they made the mistake. Don't be shocked or worried if the builder fails the first four-way inspection. It's actually pretty common. The city inspector will call out a few items for the builder to fix, usually returning the next day to sign off that everything has been done correctly. Step number 24, the installation contractor arrives and places insulation in the wall cavities between the studs. This can be long rolls of insulation, or some people choose to have it blown in, like you see here behind me, for better energy efficiency. They'll also blow insulation into the attic. If the basement is unfinished, they'll pin large sheets of insulation against the concrete walls, like you see here behind me. The city inspector will return to confirm that the home has been insulated properly. This is called a four-way, which makes me wonder why they don't just call the whole process a five-way. I'm standing inside of a home that has already passed the four-way inspection, and now we're just waiting for it to pass the four-way. So you can see insulation has been installed in the walls. You can see it up here as well. Look all the way around, you can see the insulation has been installed everywhere in the home. And you also notice that sheetrock has been delivered, right? So as soon as the city signs off on the four-way, we can start hanging the sheetrock, which will take us to video number 3. Okay, that's it for video number 2 of the most in-depth video on the home build process. Now, on to video number 3. If you're looking to buy, sell, build a home, or invest in Utah real estate, I get contacted all the time. Please, feel free to call or text me with your questions. I'd love to meet you, and I'm honored to serve you. For everyone else, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. I always do my best to respond to each one of you. If you have friends or family members looking to build a home, you can easily text this video to them. And please, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below and ring the bell to be notified each time I post new videos. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Ty, the Real Estate Guy. If you found this information helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to ring that little bell below. It'll make you feel good.